eve of Halloween 2. I am very excited. As I said, I have been asked on a date by one of the people at work, which is such a shock. I can't believe it. Um, it's exciting, right? It's been a quiet time. It's been a quarantine time. We spent some time putting on this makeup look. One of the most powerful products I've gotten my hands on is this Nude Sticks Nudies Bloom. It's a multi-stick for a multitasking balm to create a skin brightening and a fresh dewy color for all over face color. Dual-ended blending brush twists off so you can wash it. Clever. It's got a satin finish, and then the other end is indeed a little brush. And it was just so terrific to use. I was wearing a red wig to play a nurse 3 days this week, and it was the perfect product to kind of give some reddish tones to my lips and cheeks. I also went over my brows with this brown eyebrow gel from Daiso, and it just, made my brows a little bit less black to go with the red wig. When you're trying to, be camera ready, you often are kind of at pains to kind of just make things look more natural, right? More of a piece so that, people don't question, are you really a redhead? Are you really, is that your real hair? You're not the focus of the scene. So oftentimes you can get away with a lot. I also got, this got to be glued styling spiking glue, screaming hold, spike grip, chunk, water resistant into my brows. And boy, it's a powerful lift and hold. I also started working with this beautiful, beautiful Sigma palette. It was such a surprise. I found this at Marshall's for probably like $10. Sigma Untamed. Beautiful packaging, very heavy with this kind of zebra striped velvet on the exterior. It has its own little matching condom that is also in a zebra stripe. And then the color story is wow. But there's also a very clear diagram on the back of the product. So before you try it, you can actually see the jewel tones, the duochromes, the pinks, purples, etc., rusts, greens. And what I have in my eyes are the kind of chartreusey green of boho in the outer corner, and then this green shimmer, which I think is either Hustle or Envy. I can't really tell from the back, but it's PETA approved, vegan, global animal test policy, has a beautiful dual-ended brush. You'll see me work with this on camera. I went live on TikTok. Now, I could get into this fake freckle product. This is my recommendation, right? There's more expensive products. There's, the a myriad of Freck and other products, but it's semi-permanent brow ink, right? In the color warm brown. This does me right. My skin complexion, just use varying amounts of pressure, right? Get some freckles on. Small ones, big ones. Think about where freckles might fall on your face, right? And once they're dotted on, you can use a finger to make the ones you have into more freckles, right? Think of that, Jamaican person that worked at a store and what their freckles looked like, right? Probably more in the places where the sun hits. You don't want to rub, you just want to add more freckles, and then it lightens them up and, spreads them around so they're more diffuse. And that kind of gives you the look of having actual skin and maybe suggests that you're wearing less makeup than you are. See how natural that looks? You could add a couple on your chin, maybe 1 or 2 on the forehead. Some people have a lot of freckles, some people just have a few. But I feel like that just gives you a nice, subtle freckle look. You could do them the night before if you want them to show through your makeup, but such a nice product. But yeah, our friend Donald Trump, they've gotten this person, David Raskin, involved in the Department of Justice, and he is no joke. He has successfully prosecuted government workers for bringing home documents. Why you got to bring them at home? You know, you could just work with them at work. These are cat stencils from Elite Pro Beauty, an affordable brand for sale at the dollar store. There is a chemical, eliteprobeauty.com can expose you to phthalates that are known to cause cancer. So you don't want to rock with these too hard, but I thought we might use maybe this one, right? This one's a little bit more subtle, right? What's the right angle for creating a maybe this tail actually would be a good one. So this is my first time using them. I have a few sets of these. I just never sat down and actually use them. I always get hyped up and think I can freehand my, you know, eyeliner. But doesn't this look pretty? A little splash of green, a subtle kind of chartreuse, enough of a sculpt peeping through. We ended up, you know, putting this MAC Studio Radiance Face and Body Sheer Foundation, right? Sheer foundation over your underpainting, your contour, your highlight. I also had started with Halo Glow Liquid Filter in the shade 6 Tan Deep as a kind of luminous contour bronzer kind of moment. Just a dot of it with the doe foot, and I think it turned out looking spectacular. This is my $1.49 Gothic Halloween choker from the dollar store, and a cotton on shirt that is really actually half of a shirt and hella tight. But you know, I'm serving pumpkin. It's Halloween. You want to give a little bit of color, a little bit of something different. You know, experiment with some products that can achieve a pretty look. We've got our donut and coffee pot earrings from Sugar Fix by Bobble Bar from Target. This is an OG product. This is a graphite colored I guess it's a cream shadow pencil. This is one of the first makeup purchases that I made in my acting career. This product tends to migrate. It tends to be very mobile, but you know, for graphic purposes and because it's something I've held on to, I figured, you know, let's try to use this in tandem with the stencil, because we know the color will show, right? So holding the little cattail here and just looking into the viewfinder, right? Some people use business cards. Wow, that's not terrible. It did get onto the cattail. Let's look in the mirror. Eek. I think this isn't the best product. It's a little bit gloppy. It doesn't really you know, it just doesn't really give you the precision that this little stencil calls for. If we just free draw it, it looks a little bit better. But what else do we have that we could use as a liner product? I really should throw these away, but I was like enchanted to find them. I have them in different colors. One I used the other day as an inner corner highlight. Where is it? Things just go different places. Who knows where it is? But you know, I've been digging into some products I've had for a while. This is the Perricone MD Cosmeceuticals No Blush Blush, and it's quite nice. This is what's on my cheeks. I only have the nude sticks in maple. No, it's in Rusty Rouge on my lips. But you can see how subtle that blush is, just in the W shape. A little on the forehead, a little on the chin, looking healthy and flushed, flexing these collarbones. We may have a date. How about that? How does one date these days? We're in a testing cadence at work. This is someone I met at work who is going to go work somewhere else. Do you socially distance on the date? Do you go to an indoor restaurant? Do you try to stay outdoors? Is it safer to go to a grocery store? I'm a big fan of just sushi at Whole Foods. I love it. Other people turn up their nose at it, but I'm not trying to do anything crazy or extreme. I'm just trying to, kind of do the, who are you, dude? What are you all about? Are you crazy? Are you a criminal? Are you a drug addict? What's the story? I just don't have any clue. He's been messaging me on my social media and saying all the right, flattering things. It's very cute. And I told him at the very least, I'm flattered. I have no idea what will become of any of this, but let's start there. I'm flattered. I'm very, I'm amused and pleased to be the object of someone's, dare I say, desires, affection, a little Twitter notification. What is going on with Twitter now that Elon Musk is in charge? So these are Mint Melt No Budge eyeshadows, right? If that's what's become of our attempt at using that graphite eyeshadow pencil, let's, what can we clean this off with that's not going to ruin our beauty sponge? Well, take matters to our pajama pants. Yes, that is what we wear when we do our makeup. So if we use the darkest pencil, it's not really a dilemma. Schedules being what they are, who's to say that, someone else isn't going to turn his head? But if we kind of hold this to our lower lash line, right, and really press it into the skin, does this guy do anything extraordinary? What I do like about it is that it kind of gives you a symmetrical curve on the bottom, right? Again, this is not a liner, it's an eyeshadow stick that purports to be no budge. That Mint Melt collection was very hard. There was a moment in time where it was really hard to get your hands on these. The primer, all that stuff. I stocked my local Walmart and had a hell of a time trying to get it. I did actually finally pick up a couple of items at Marshall's. But I quite like the way that this cat allows the liner to kind of cover the whole edge of the eye. So it's kissing both the upper and the lower lid, right? And if I take a pencil or, just a very tiny brush, this is the brush that I used for the inner corner green, right? And I look in my mirror, love the cat. That's great for Halloween. Do you think Donald Trump is having a Halloween celebration? Kind of living it up before heavier endeavors happen? Like, has Steve Bannon been put in jail yet, or was he just sentenced? So, part of the issue is with a hooded eye. Should you draw your liner under the hood, or should you just get that liner onto the lid and, dance it across that hood? So whether your eye is open or closed, that bat wing shape happens, but there's nothing wrong with that. And then just using the same small tipped brush just to finesse. This is quite a pretty color. It reminds me of Mac Teddy. It's brown with some sort of bronzy and shimmery aspects. We could stretch out the very tip of the wing and sort of finesse the top of it so that we're smoking it out a little bit And just making sure that this one, of course, looks heavier and bigger because it's a thicker product. But I wouldn't be unhappy with 2 of these for that nighttime glamour look. Now, for a date, would we be trying to look natural or glamorous? What are we wearing? If my suggestion is that we just meet at the Whole Foods, because I think Whole Foods is fine. We may figure out that we should just be friends, but you know, he saw something he liked. It wasn't my finest look, I'll tell you that much. But you know, I'm a fun-loving person, and you know, we all have our stresses and all of that. But I have to admit it led a certain amount of delight to this weekend. You know, as we kind of see what's happening with the global panini and how, you know, people that we already know might not necessarily be viable options. It's great to have a great new option, right? So many of my friends are on like Bumble and Hinge and, you know, being disappointed by what that's giving, right? People using fraudulent pictures that are, you know, out of date, and hairlines that are out of date. This is the NYX Professional Makeup Can't Stop, Won't Stop mattifying powder. So if we look maybe just right here in the center of our face, right? We did actually get some really adorable little puffs, right? You get your fingers right in there, get it right into this mattifying powder, just kiss it a little bit, get enough of it on here. Translucent is what the promise is. Will it look translucent, or will it end up looking white on our skin, right? Trying not to rub off our freckles, but trying to take down that you know, sort of greasy look right in the middle, right? Are we sweating because of all the lights? But just by taking that shine down a bit, right? Do we not want our nose to shine? Some people add highlighter there, but I've heard such good things about these little puffs, and this is such a cute color. You know, when people see you do your makeup at work, I do feel like it's worth looking cute doing your makeup, because people are looking, right? They're looking at not only how well you do your makeup, but you may find yourself discussed, you know, in places where you are not, right? And your ability to kind of switch things up, add a freckle, add a liner, look credible in a gown or in a, you know, sort of sexy dress for dinner. It's amazing. People always act startled, even though you do it again and again. That's our job. Turning looks, turning looks, turning looks. Nighttime, lunchtime, sushi, Whole Foods, you know, trying to stay healthy, trying not to, you know, eat too many cronuts, but, you know, trying to get camera ready and do it in a way that's, you know, healthy and becoming and season appropriate and situation appropriate, you know, having to try to look attractive when all your hair is pulled back and you look like a newborn baby. It's not easy. We did get some really cute brushes. We finally got these nail brushes that are so fine tipped. I cannot wait to try to start doing eyeliner with the thinnest, shortest brushes that could give us the thinnest, tiniest line. I cannot wait. We're gonna get into these. I think I paid maybe like $4 for the whole collection. They're manicure brushes, so they have little round tipped metal things of all different sizes. You could use these to make freckles, but I think freckles are not perfectly round. So I think your finger and deciding how much freckles and where you want your freckles, and it works out just great. Again, this color is warm brown. You could go with an auburn depending on your complexion, but you know, this is not $15 or $30. It's a brow product, and it says that it is semi-permanent brow ink, and that means it will, I think, stay on to 1 or 2 or 3 days. But putting it over makeup, it won't last that much, but I think it just gives you a very pretty look. Think about the redheads, you know. People with red hair often have freckles. And when they have freckles, their brows are not black. And their makeup is makeup that flatters people with red hair. They wear greens well. They wear oranges and rusts and browns. You know, and there are certain colors that just look very flattering to the red tones in their skin. I am a very yellow person, warm, so this doesn't look terrible, right? Collarbones popping. I should have done more exercise this weekend, but I did TikToks and now I'm going live. Just celebrating the weekend, right? We're looking toward an election. Is it going to work out? People are acting up, you know? Hammer, Pelosi's husband looking for Nancy, all this misogyny. I don't understand how people who call themselves Christian can be so vicious toward women. But I mean, there's the sort of like what the religions say about the family and the Virgin Mary and Mary Magdalene, and but then there's also the practice of excluding women from leadership, excluding women from secret societies, whether women can, you know, exert the same amount of power and influence. And maybe these are not halls that are friendly to women, women's bodies, women's choice, women's safety, children's safety. I'm not going to elaborate, but I think you know what I'm getting at. Maybe these are not the people who should be deciding things. So if you are unhappy with certain Supreme Court decisions of recent months and certain Supreme Court justices, this is the time to, as they say, row, row, row your vote gently down the stream and let these people know what you want to, you know, enact as policy that will make a safer, better world for the majority, right? Enough with these tactics to cap the influence of the majority and over emphasize the opinion of the minority, right? If it's very interesting to see the evolution of who gets called minority, right? 10 years, 20 years on, who will be the minority? How should that shift public policy? How won't it shift, right? The 1% versus the 99%. It's all very interesting. But in the meantime, we have possibilities afforded us by democracy, you know, Western American life, improving on our knowledge of history, and, you know, exerting our influence at the polls and here on YouTube to discuss issues, to discuss the Latino vote, to discuss whether or not some of our elected officials have been engaging in espionage. Why do you need top secret documents at your private home, at your golf course, buried in the yard, etc., allegedly? Doesn't add up to me. I think if President Reagan was alive, he would be appalled. You know, America first. It's a lifestyle. Get with it. If you want to sell out to Russia and Saudi Arabia, that's your choice. Don't run for office in America. That's what I say. But I'm just a good old brown patriot. This is where I'm at. You know, there is no homeland for someone like me to return to. This is it. Where I'm from, where I'm going to be, you know, Lord willing. Anyway, I should get on to... I mean, I guess I'm pretty prepared for tomorrow. It's not going to be a complicated thing. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm wearing. I know what my hairstyle is. The only wrinkle is Halloween and whether it makes sense for me to wear a mask or any kind of costume. I do have... You'll be horrified to see this. Hold on. Let me grab hold of this. Creepy and upsetting as it is. Look, it's a Joe Biden mask, right? I could put this guy on, but it would mess up my hair and my makeup. You know, maybe we'll do some Joe Biden impressions, but, you know, I think Joe Biden is doing an okay job, certainly a better job than someone whose allegiances lay outside the United States. And I think that, there's always challenges to the office of the president, but I don't know what kind of chaos we'd be living in the middle of if Donald Trump, by hook or by crook, did become president again. Like he's just too compromised. There's too much debt, too much, coddling of foreign dictators. It's too much. If you can't figure out what side you're on, then you have many years of being a private citizen, whether you're roaming free or otherwise, to figure it out. Here is a Makeup Revolution London Bright Light Highlighter. So many people discussed this is a great mattifying product. It did brighten and mattify. The only thing about these products, they're great until they shatter in your purse. This is more of like a at-home use kind of product because I've had like 3 or 4 of them just shatter in the purse. I try to glue them back together with some rubbing alcohol and it's a disaster. Like it's gonna make you, it's just not gonna do what you need it to do. So it has that wet applicator that some of the Charlotte Tilbury products have. You have to like twist it. There's a little bit. Maybe we'll give it one little twist so that you guys at home can see what it's working with. So over blush, over freckles, just getting it in the dish. It's very luminous. It's very pink. This is Beam Pink. And there's another shade, which I think is a little bit, I can't remember the name of the other. Maybe it's Divine Pink or something like that. The applicator is odd. It's anyway. So favorite silicone sponge. Get it on there. I'm not a highlight wearer. I did sneak some, what do you call it? Luminous foundation underneath my other complexion products, right? I have a colleague who wears quite a bit of highlighter and it's not blended. It's just in a stripe there on the cheek and it looks fine at a distance. It does. It looks dramatic, but I don't know that that's the law enforcement look, right? I don't know. So this pink doesn't look entirely crazy. But again, evening lighting. We're not really, walking around in daylight in it. It is a Halloween day tomorrow, but that doesn't really make it possible for you to, go too crazy with too much highlighter. It does look dramatic, right? But you have to be strategic. You want that cheekbone to jump out and jump forward and look like a high cheekbone, right? Conservative amount, maybe light layers, right? Getting that on, not wanting to highlight any disturbing texture. Wanting to use what's in our dish, highlight the bridge of the nose. I have a very low bridge on my nose. I have a friend who went overseas and she got a surgically enhanced nose bridge. I just can't even imagine risking my life to change the bridge of my nose. Like, is it that important? Look how pretty that looks, right? We could even make it even worse. Put a little bit more right on the top of the cheekbone, right? If you're not sure whether you have high cheekbones, if your cheekbones aren't as high as you want, that's where Mr. Highlighter comes in, right above the arch of the brow. Those brows are lifted. You could even take the very tip of your silicone sponge and very carefully apply it to the arch of the brow on the underside so that you get that kind of stripper highlight, right? More chin, more cheekbone, more nose bridge, more nose tip, more arch of the brow above and below, not on the center of the forehead, right? Something where a man or a non-makeup wearer would be like, wow, there's something interesting and fascinating about her face. You know, I've had colleagues tell me, I don't know, I can't even remember what I was wearing, just in recent weeks, who were like, oh, I had to wear like an exercise outfit. One of my colleagues called it a super suit. And so one of my other colleagues said, oh, it just makes me want to kiss you, right? Like people see your body, same body you have every day when you're wearing a uniform or whatever, but they see you in certain things and then they want to kiss you. Not ask you on a date, right? They want to grope you. Or, you know, one colleague, as I said, put his knees between mine and tried to pry my legs apart when I was sitting there putting on makeup, you know, like just out of pocket. I credit this guy who asked me out. Like, he had a short conversation with me, asked for the Instagram, contacted me on Instagram and asked me on a date. I want to take you somewhere nice to eat. Now, I could be an asshole and be like, oh, let's go to insert expensive sushi restaurant here. It's not that deep. I'd really rather just know, who's this dude? What's he all about? You know, and it'll be fun for me. I like Whole Foods just fine. Oh, hell no. Hell no. Yeah, no, I hear you. You know, it's just someone I don't know, but who is very cute. So, you know, I'm going to risk it for the biscuit, you know? But yeah, I don't know if Mr. Trump is in danger of indictment or if this is just, you know, smoke and mirrors to confuse people during the election. Does he deserve it? I don't know. They sure did put Steve Bannon. I know he's convicted and he's been sentenced. I don't know if that means he went to jail. I just don't have the time to watch the news every day, all day. And then Mark Meadows has cooperated to a greater extent, given some documents, some information so that he doesn't have a combative, non-cooperative stance. It's unclear what Donald Trump and his lawyers are actually doing, but I can understand old Donnie being upset. You know, he's not running things the way that he had hoped, the way that, you know, gambler, right? They're going to risk it all, hopefully for a big reward, but all these long-term cons and long-term bets are coming due right now, and I don't think that he has the money or the lawyers or the hookup, right? There's a path where they might push to the Supreme Court, but even that might not, you know, it would be best for Clarence Thomas to recuse himself. And do we know, here's a trivia question, do you know who Clarence Thomas's wife is? Not vis-a-vis him, but who her family is, that people have been, you know, naming her as someone who was involved in and organizing the January 6th coup attempt. If you know that answer, could you put it into the chat, or you can respond to my video and let me know if you happen to know what family does Ginny Thomas come from, right? Maiden name Thomas. Who is her grandfather? That's going to be very illuminating for anyone in this country who cares about politics and whether, you know, it's equal justice for all, right? It's taken time to get at Donald Trump for his sexual assault and libel and not paying people and all of that, but, you know, poor E. Jean Carroll allegedly had to suffer quite a disturbing encounter with Donald Trump it was one of the fancy, was it Bergdorf Goodman? It wasn't Bonwit Teller. What is the name of the fancy, it's a department store that doesn't exist in New York anymore, but, you know, it apparently happened in a dressing room, which is ghastly all on its own. But, you know, at a certain period of time, you know, Donald Trump was bawling. He was literally and figuratively, you know, seemed like he had all the money and all the success, and a lot of it was from allegedly, you know, getting into bed with the mob and taking money from Russian oligarchs. This is what's being said. I don't know for certain, but it certainly sounds intriguing when you try to figure out how and why he had to overvalue real estate to get loans that probably financially he wasn't eligible for. But in any case, I'm trying to find the other cat. I think it did a beautiful job of creating a stencil for this liner. I used 2 different liners, and now the cat has some product on it, so I'll wipe that off. But there's a second little cat. You know, there are these stencils on a stick that allow you to kind of shape graphic liner and shadow along the lid, and I contemplated buying those, but I think, you know, these little cats might be useful for the same purpose. Merely $1.29 from the dollar store. Don't eat it, but, you know, with a shape that is as many different shapes, and you can use one side or the other. But I think I like this. I'll be trying to use it more in my makeup. Hopefully I'll be able to find the other one, but I should go to bed because I have to go. Oh, here it is. I have to go to meow meow. I have to go to work in the morning, you know. But these are exciting times. Stay safe during whatever's happening with the global panini and, you know, whatever the new name is for monkeypox. I forgot. It has a new name that is apparently less offensive. I don't know. But yeah, if you can get hold of these cat line eyeliner liner stencils, right? I think you can also use them for eyeshadow. Quite nice, quite pretty, an unexpected shape that can help you with placement and symmetry. Highly recommend. But we'll have more candy taste tests tomorrow. We're going to talk about the political news and what's happening with Mr. Trump and his lawyers, and, you know, the Latino vote and the Black vote and women's vote that are so important and impactful in the 2022 elections. We have 9 days to make some decisions as a country. Let's get it done. You know, different races around the country. This is, you know, SISTA says. I'm a SISTA of a certain heritage and a certain complexion, and I think it's important that we talk about these issues and come together in makeup and political knowledge to hopefully build a better America for us all, right? Okay, I will see you on the next episode. Bye. Join me next time. Feel free to hit me up on Instagram, TikTok, Rizzle, or right here on YouTube. Okay? Be cool. See you soon. Bye.